Hey there, Tesai here. So, after a long time, we finally got a KORTZ Center update with the new heist. And so, is it any good when it comes to making money? So far, we had the original heists, which are not the best way to make money, and it's not solo friendly. Then there is KORTZ, which used to be crazy good when it comes to money making, but even after all the nerfs, it's still pretty much the best way to make solo money. And lastly, there is Diamond Casino Heist, which is not bad, but it cannot be done solo. If we add the Cluckin' Bell Raid and the contract with Dr. Dre, together with KORTZ, that's all there is that can be easily grinded solo for any meaningful income. Or that used to be the case, because the KORTZ Center heist can easily be done solo. And not only that, like KORTZ, if you are serious about making money, it should be done solo. So let's take a quick look at it. For starters, it's a heist that requires scope out to be done once and then 5 setups each time you do it. There are 4 entry points that will be dictated by the infiltration gear you decide to take, and realistically there are 2 approaches, the quote-unquote silent and not so silent.
You know what? You're pissing me off. Coming out, shit, we just spotted, boss.
You pick your approach yourself while you are playing the game. Literally your playstyle dictates it, and the heist won't fail if you get discovered, for example. For once you are in charge and the game simply throws stuff at you, similar to how it is in KORTZ. And honestly, I like it this way. Like, that's player agenda, and the control is in our hands, players, and that's how it should be. Anyway, there are 5 optional prep works available on top of the others, but only the guard routes might be worth the time, money or effort, and that is why. In this heist, you don't see the guards and their cones of vision on the minimap by default. To unlock this ability, special prep needs to be done first. Just quick disclaimer, I'm not sure if Rockstar retrospectively applied this bullshit to older heists, but that's how it is with this heist. Anyway, back to the topic. Instead of doing this prep, you can also pay 70k and have it done instantly. It's worth it in my opinion, but I also have nearly infinite money at this point. Alternatively, you can just do the prep in like 7 minutes with the right vehicles. That being said, to actually start with the heist, we need to pick our approach and source the gear. Then get unmarked weapons, as is custom, because god forbid we used our own weapons. We also need a getaway vehicle, which actually makes sense, and we need access codes and hacking device. First time around, you will also have to scope out the KORTZ Center. I'm not actually sure if you need to scope it out each time in the future, especially since Ralph will just tell you what's the main target the second you start the prep. But I want to be upfront about it regardless, because I forgot to double check with my second playthrough, and I don't really want to rely on random comments on Reddit or elsewhere on the internet. Before we proceed to the next topic, let me quickly show you all the important places to scope out. There is staff entrance, it's outside on the ground floor. I think Ralph actually guides you to that area. Then there is loading bay, it's outside, taking right from the main road at the parking area, and there is guard's booth at the entrance. There are sewers, it's a manhole inside the maze. There are guards in the maze during the heist, and if you go there for the scope out, it's quicker to blow yourself up rather than running through the maze. Of course there is skylight, because there needs to be skylight. Obviously it's on the roof of the main building. And these are the entrances. Beside that, we have the optional preps, and we need to uncover some of them. So we get the guard shipment. This one is unlocked by default, and I believe it just makes the guards weaker. Then we got the guard routes, and you gotta take picture of the radio tower on the roof for this one. As I said, without this one you can't see them on the minimap, which is pretty painful. Then there is glass cutter. Simply take picture of one of the glass cases inside the exhibition. It might be the ones on the upper floor. It doesn't matter, you won't be able to use the glass cutter anytime, because if you are doing it solo, you are not being able to access the upper floor. For the lower display cases, you can simply smash them with your hand or with the butt of your weapon. Power drills, you can unlock this during the CCTV scope out sequence. Simply zoom in on the lockboxes inside the vault and never buy them, never do the setup, they are worthless. Lastly, EMP charges. At the roof near the skylight there is an electric box. Anyway, all these preps are rather straightforward, quick and easy. Each can be done in like 10 minutes, maybe 7 if you are really time efficient with it, and having your base set up inside the town. This might speed things up as well, because most of the missions are in Los Santos. I am set outside of Los Santos because I like the view there, and this easily adds 30 to 60 seconds of travel time during each setup, even with the Sparrow. So, all things considered, I bet it is possible to be done with the preps in like 40 minutes without breaking a sweat. I managed to finish all my preps second time around in 50 minutes while streaming, messing up and yapping around. Extra 10 minutes for the optional prep if you don't want to pay for it, and you can have this haste ready once every hour. If that was possible, that is because there is a, I believe, 48 minutes to 60 minutes cooldown period in between the hastes. Now for the rewards. The first time you do this haste, the main target is big. We are talking about guaranteed 2 mils, even if you mess up big time and get shot bunch of times and only grabbed any 2 extra paintings. This is great, but it really sets players for a very cold and unpleasant surprise once they get to the second playthrough, which brings in much less. For my second run, I had the main target to be worth whooping $365k. I was able to get second value worth a grand total of 1.3 mil, but that's with me going around the whole center and taking photos of everything. So that's the whole value inside the center, not what I can carry. You see, like with KO, you can only take so much into your duffel bag. We are talking about 2 paintings per person, and there might be more lucrative loot all around the whole center, but you will have to get past so many guards on your way there that it's quite tough to not trigger an alarm, plus you are only getting a relatively small amount of money for your effort per time invested. So the approach I came up with to this haze basically is to get to the main target, steal anything extra that's inside the vault, and get the hell out of there as soon as possible to make good money per hour, rather than trying to maximize each haul at the expense of losing money per hour income. It's worth noting that with all my runs, there is always some extra loot in the loading bay, and there is also a crowbar in the loading bay. So if you get unlucky with no extra loot in the vault, you can simply loot there for a little extra. And don't even think about the lockboxes and the drill, most of them are literally empty, and the rest gives out like 6k per lockbox. It also takes up space in your duffel bag, so once you loot even a single one of those, you locked yourself out of carrying 2 paintings. This is also why I don't think it's worth the trouble to bring any more players with you. The main target is what brings the most money, and having more people won't multiply that, and the secondary targets are not really worth enough to pay for second person's payout, and that's even if you lowball them. Especially with considering the risk of them getting discovered and you losing money each time they or you get shot because they messed up. Given the haste itself can be easily done in 15 minutes, this means that if you really lock in with both the haste finale and the prep work, you can literally be doing 1 haste each hour. This means you will have to have access to Sparrow, good weapons, and ideally Oppressor in case your Sparrow is blown up or something like that, and some quick land vehicle because there is like 1 prep during which you cannot fly, I believe. But yeah, it's pretty quick and painless. If I understand it correctly, there also should be like more available paintings once a week on rotation, meaning that once a week we should be able to make bigger money with this haste, and then we would be able to just casually loot the scraps if we feel like doing so. At least that's how I'm interpreting the description, but only time will tell. I'm gonna post an updated video and pin a comment under this video explaining how it is if this is not the case. Now, there is a massive catch on not a really lucrative haste already. And that catch is that for starting a KORTZ Center haste, you gotta be owner of a mansion. And These start at 12 mil. It will also need to be outfitted with Art Studio, which costs extra 4.7 mil. And I mean, the Art Studio is only paid for once and is being unlocked free of charge for the rest of your mentions, which is cool, even if you buy the extra mentions in the future. But still, it's quite a lot. And except for the first time, you also need to drop extra 100k to set up the heist. And you might also, if you are like me, drop extra 70k on the optional prep work, so you save some time. So yeah, essentially, if you are a new player, there is at least 16.7 mil price tag on this heist just to be able to start it. And that's unreasonable for a new player to face. So I would say if you are a newer player, just ignore it. Because you could literally use the extra starting cash you get when you start the game on Definitive Edition, or whatever it's called, then finish the original Criminal Mastermind challenge, follow it up with the first and last dose missions and the bonuses that bring in extra mil, collect all the bonus beginner challenges like the revolver, stone hatchet collectibles, destroy all the jammers, do clocking bell raid once, and you still won't be able to afford this. And I'm not even talking about all the vehicles and tools that you would need to do this efficiently. And if you do all this, in the first two heists, given you do them solo for the maximized profit, you are looking at payout of roughly 3 mils if stars align properly and you execute it flawlessly. This doesn't mean the heist is bad or anything, it just means the heist is not for beginners or people that need money in-game. Although it's literally the easiest and most solo-friendly heist there is available today, and it's for some reason at the end of the progression curve of the game. So the question is the heist bad? And the answer is no. The heist is ton of fun. I enjoyed it a lot, but I also have 1.5k hours in GTA Online alone, and I have been playing the game for 11 years. I literally at this point have 22 mil just sitting in my pocket, and I haven't sold any of the goods that I have ready in all my various factories and stuff and warehouses. I can literally make like an extra 20 mil in one afternoon if I feel like doing so. I'm not playing the game at this point to grind money, but rather to enjoy it and teach other people how to make money without grinding all the time, so they can actually enjoy the game. Anyway, this is obvious opportunity for me to plug in the other content I make. If you want to get to this point in the game like I am, make sure to check my passive and active guides on money making and GTA Online. These are sorted into two playlists on my channel and are basically all my experience with GTA Online distilled into easy to follow guides. And it's free of charge. I don't have a book or course or anything like that to sell, unlike other people. Back to the topic though. So, what's the purpose of this heist if not to make money? Well, it's been communicated really poorly by Rockstar, but the purpose of this mention and the heist itself is to give players the option to spend part of their hoarded money on a base that can be modified and stylized to their liking. That's why there is a cat and dog in the mention, and why we can actually modify it to our likings, unlike other parts of the game. Although it's done pretty poorly. Anyway, the art from this heist can be either sold or kept for display in our mentions, and that's the excuse for this heist to even exist if you ask me. I would be much happier if they did something with the super yacht instead, as it would be much cooler main base of operation than the mansion, even if it would mean upgrading it for like 20 mils. But hey, that's my take. Either way, as a closing word, is the heist worth the time and money? Well, it might be worth it as an alternative on the rotation with Kaio, Dr. Dre, etc. If for nothing else, it gives you more options, and it's undoubtedly fun, at least for now. Originally, I had much more to say about the mentions and the heists, but no, I won't be rambling anymore. The heist is good fun solo, and I bet it's even more fun with friends, wish I had some. It feels limited though, the space doesn't feel like as big and elaborate like the Diamond Casino heist, and definitely not like the Cayo Perico. It feels more like the Clocking Bell raid, but I don't mind at this point, I am just happy we are getting more content. That being said, thanks for watching. Check my YouTube channel to learn how to get unlimited money in GTA Online. Take care and bye.
Move in! Ah! Shit, we got a casualty.